everybody. Do you find it challenging to help your teams see value in why they should conduct regular standard sprint review events? Do you find it challenging in helping your teams see or reflect the purpose of sprint review events? If you are struggling with that, if you realize that your teams don't want to do sprint review events at the end of every sprint, if you realize that they choose to want to do it when they think it's needed, then this video is for you. My name is Fomafung, your Agile Evangelist, and welcome back to my channel. So today, we will be addressing some of the things that we see on the ground in reality. Like I always say, most of the time, the books, which is the ideal, is usually far away from the reality, which is what we see on the ground. So usually the books is usually on that other side and the reality is far the other way. So one of such struggles is helping your teams conduct regular, consistent sprint review events. You see, so if that is one of your struggles, please stay tuned. Before I go any further, just as a reminder, if this is your first time here, you're very welcome. Here we talk about agile way of working. We talk about product development, project management, and a specification on Scrum Mastering, Agile Coaching. So that you never miss out on anything we share here on a weekly basis, please go ahead and turn on that subscription button and the notification bell so you will always get frequent reminders. And so you don't only be a partaker, but you also want to carry the torch forward. Please make sure you share this video so that we can continuously grow our community. And thank you so much. If you're a returning subscriber, a returning viewer, as always, you're loved, you're very welcome. This is the safest place where we can learn, try things, share ideas, and grow, and no one is judging you. Thank you so much. Now, how do you help your teams to see the value of the Scrum event, especially the sprint review event? One thing that I've noticed, like 80% of teams, coaches, leadership, Scrum Masters, they refer to the sprint review event as a demo meeting, as a sprint demo. To me, that's already an impediment. That's a gap. And you would also notice that just because they call these events a sprint demo, it wires people's thought to want to think that this meeting is only to come and demonstrate an increment. You see, now team members with that mindset, thinking that the sprint review event, which they call sprint demo, is to come and demonstrate increment. In a sprint where they really don't have an increment to show, that's why they would not want to have a sprint review. Most teams that I have worked with and working with Scrum Masters too, they usually tell me that, well, their teams, it works for them. They don't carry out frequent or regular consistent sprint review events because it's not all the time that they have something to demo, you see. So most of the times you realize that teams who do this, they call their sprint review event, they refer to it as sprint demo, and you would understand with them. Now with that, you see reason. I'll see reasons with them why they wouldn't want to conduct a sprint review event when there is really nothing to demo, because they have the understanding that it is a demo meeting, you see, which is really not the case. Now, what is the purpose of this sprint review event, and what are the things that should be talked about during the sprint review event? A typical agenda of a sprint review event, or ideally the sprint review event, demonstrating an increment, is just an agenda item. It's just one of the activities that would happen in the sprint review event. What is a sprint review event in the first place? A sprint review event is that only event in the sprint where the pillars of scrums are really where it really reflects the three pillars of Scrum, where your teams, the organization, and you all want to really reflect the pillars of Scrum. That is the transparency, the inspection, and the adaptation. You see, from the product perspective, it's that only event where stakeholders have that opportunity to have an understanding on what you have been doing or what you've accomplished for the past 2 weeks. That is, if your sprint is a 2 weeks sprint iteration, is that only event where you have that opportunity to receive that gift from the stakeholders. And what am I referring to as that gift? Feedback. See feedback as a gift. That's that only event where everybody is invited. Anybody who wants to attend it is invited. And me saying that is that only event where you reflect the three pillars of Scrum, which is the transparency, the inspection, and the adaptation. Being transparent is you communicating everything that has happened in the sprint, especially communicating the things that will be valuable to the stakeholders. That is, if you encounter some struggles, you see, that's where you want to communicate that with the stakeholders. If you were able to overcome some challenges and you accomplish some great things, that is where you want to communicate that to the stakeholders so that they stay informed on what's going on. If you were able to win, achieve some little wins, that's where you want to communicate and shine as a team, you see, and take the credit of the great work you all have done, you see. And then it's still during that event where you have the opportunity. That's all the transparency I'm talking about. And with all of that together, you all inspect the outcome of that sprint from a product perspective. You see, you all inspect it, and then as you're inspecting it, you want to adapt based on the feedback you've received from the customers, based on the feedback you've received from the stakeholders, you see. So that is how you reflect the pillars of Scrum: the transparency, the inspection, and the adaptation, which is a foundation that really holds Scrum to stand. Now you see why, regardless of whether you achieve the done increment in the sprint or not, you still want to have a sprint review event. It should be a consistent, reoccurring meeting on your calendar at the end of every sprint. Now, what are the typical activities or the agenda items in an ideal sprint review event? So that teams don't only see this as a demo meeting, what I have done to help my teams really get the value out of these meetings is I will cover some specific things. Now, once this event starts, let's assume that this is the sprint review meeting going on. It's supposed to be initiated or introduced by the product owner, because the product owner is really the owner for this meeting. But in reality, though, it's hardly ever the case, because you realize that product owners really don't have an understanding of their role in this event, you see. So as a Scrum Master, expect to step in and close that gap until your product owner, you're able to bring your product owner up to speed with the expectation, you see. So assuming that it's a situation where your product owner is not up to speed yet with what this this sprint review event is all about and what they should be doing in this sprint review event, as a Scrum Master, what I'll typically do is, first of all, I want to set the stage, communicating the purpose of this event, communicating who will be doing what in this event, just run the agenda by all the attendees, you see. And then I also communicate the time box of these events, you see, and the expectation. That's what I'll communicate. That's just setting the stage. And the once that is done, I would pass it on to the product owner. And then the product owner will just give a summary of the outcome of that sprint in terms of the commitment versus the actual, you see. What the sprint goal was, what the team committed to, and what they actually realized at the end of the sprint. So the PO should give a summary of what that is. You see, after the PO has given that summary of what that is, and then the third agenda item would be team members communicating the challenges they encounter from a product perspective, especially if they are looking for some sort of support from the stakeholders, you see. And most especially informing the stakeholders on what they're going through, so that stakeholders can really have the opportunity to get into their shoes and have a feeling of the reality on what they are facing on the ground. Because sometimes it's challenging for these stakeholders to just be at their own corners and understand what you all are going through as a team. And with that, it will be easy for them to want to blame you if you are not achieving the goal, or you didn't achieve that goal, you see, so that you match the expectations with what you're facing on the ground. That is that opportunity for you. So I only really see the team members benefiting from having a regular sprint review event, you see. So yeah, the team members or one person would volunteer, but before that even happens, I would want to ensure that we've already agreed on who will be taking on this action item, this agenda item during that sprint review event. So they would communicate the challenges that they encountered, and give reasons why they were not able to achieve the goal that they had established. You see, with that, everybody have an understanding on what's going on. Accountability, that is accountability we are talking about here. Accountability. Yeah. And then at the same time, you also want to communicate some of the challenges you're able to overcome. That way you're selling yourself as a team. That's an opportunity for you to shine, and expose some of the wins to your stakeholders, your little wins, you see. So once you're able to communicate the key successes and the key challenges, which is already the third agenda item, we'll now move forward to demoing the increments. Again, remember, if the increment is not done, don't demo it. You see, so we'll go further to demonstrate the increments that we've accomplished at the end of that sprint. If it's a situation where we didn't achieve any increment, that's an opportunity where we are telling stakeholders, we are letting them know we didn't achieve this increment for this reason, and we need this kind of support so that next time we can be able to overcome this challenge and we would be able to achieve this increment. That's that opportunity where you're communicating it to them, you see. So, but if it's a situation where, that's what we really want though, you're able to achieve an increment, awesome. Demonstrate that increment to your stakeholders, you see. And now, once that increment or those increments are demonstrated to your stakeholders, the next agenda item would be that inspection. Before I communicate that, or before we talk about that, just as a reminder, team, our next training for Scrum Master is upcoming on the 5th of April. So if you are still contemplating, if you're still waiting, procrastinating, which you shouldn't have any reason for that, please reach out to us today. Check right up there. That's our contact information right there. Or go to the description box and you will find the details for our contact information. You can go straight to our website and get all the insight you want regarding our customized, powerful Scrum Master training. Enroll today so that you can join us in this successful career path. And secondly, if you're in between having a certification, theoretical knowledge, and landing the job, because that's the biggest challenge. You can all agree with me. That's the biggest challenge that a lot of certified Scrum Masters face out there. You see, they already have the knowledge, they have the certification, but they are not able to land that job. They get frustrated. They start thinking this is not for them, and then they give up. If you are in this category, please reach out to us today. We've helped thousands of people. That's what we do. Reach out to us and we will be thrilled to help you achieve that dream that you've really given up on. Okay? And lastly, if you're a practicing Scrum Master, Agile Coach, and you're struggling on the ground to deliver value to your organization, please reach out to us. Our team of experts will be able to help you. Our community of practice would support you to ensure that you are delivering that value in which you were paid or you were hired to come and deliver in your organization. Okay? We don't want you to be alone in this path. We don't want you to be alone. So contact us today and enroll in one of our powerful programs based on your gaps, and we will be glad to help you close the gaps to become a successful, outstanding, unique Scrum Master. Thank you so very much. If this is your first time here, you're very welcome. Please remember to switch on that subscription button and the notification bell so you will never ever miss out in any of our powerful content. All right, now let's continue with our point. So once the team members are done demonstrating the increment, we will now want to get feedback from stakeholders. Stakeholders will provide their feedback based on their thoughts, and now, or based on the definition of done. That's what they'll be going by. They'll provide their feedback based on the definition of done, based on the acceptance criteria. Once that is over, we also want to sync, which the product owner will be the one to drive this. The product owner would want to communicate, give a preview of what's next. You see, that's going to be the very next thing on the agenda item. What's next? And the reason why this is important is because we just want to make sure that we are synchronizing on what's next, so that we don't have a different understanding on what's next, thinking is the right thing, and the stakeholders have a different understanding of what's next, you see, so that we all are on the same page. That's that one and only opportunity where you all have that conversation and preview what's next, adapting the feedback you've gathered to what's next, based on the return on investment. So you all agree, have a consensus on what the next sprint goal would be, and you take it up from there. And once that is done, once your the PO is done previewing what's next with the stakeholders, and then you just want to ask if there is any other remark for the team, and with that, anybody can just give a comment, questions and answers, collaborate on questions and answers, and once that is over, Scrum Master, you just go ahead and close out the meeting, thank everyone for coming, and that's it. You have a successful, productive, efficient sprint review right there. So go ahead and try these tips and come back here and share with us how it all went. Again, you know that this is the safest place where you would want to share your thoughts and no one is judging you. Please leverage that comment section. And I always love to know what you think. Drop your thoughts there so that together we all can continuously keep our learning alive. That's how Agile was designed, continuous learning and continuous improvement. It shouldn't only be me coming here and sharing all this valuable, high quality information to you. I also want to learn from you. All right. So again, Karen Fomafung, your favorite Agile Evangelist. Thank you so very much and have a lovely, lovely rest of your week. Bye.